Do-Rag Wisdom here, folks, and welcome to Y2K 18.05.29. Just 161 days until the midterms and the beginning and the end, hopefully, of this creep's regime. We not only have a traitor in our Oval Office, we have a virtual gangster in there as well, and running our government with all the powers thereof. We've literally given a Trumputin mobster goon the power to find out what the law has on him. Imagine if Al Capone were president, or Mayor Lansky, or Whitey Bulger. Check out the con being played out in front of us in the name of something Trump took out of his ass that he calls Spygate. Bertha Traitor, Trumputin, Lansky, Capone, Bulger knows he is guilty and will use every available cheat he can summon to cover his crime. And as accidental president of the USA, he has all the means at his disposal to cover his tracks and make fools of us all. But we forget, folks, don't we? Don't we forget that we have a three-branch government and that each branch checks the others so that no one gets too big a head and is corrupted by power that corrupts absolutely? So far, our system is failing us in this mobster presidency because there is no longer any check on each shareholder's power. The legislative branch, for example, is enabling the anti-constitutional disassembling of our democratic republic by the executive branch. And the Supreme Court has become a partisan tool of whomever is in charge of the executive branch, and that only the executive branch can choose who will be next on the federal courts. In our time, the Supreme Court has been bastardized and consumed by the other two branches, rendering this branch as partisan and as contaminated by politics as ever. We are already in a constitutional crisis, folks. We are already in the ICU, and yes, they have called for the crash cart. The good characters in the movies are now getting the worst of it. All of us are at that point in the wrestling match when the heel is winning. Will the tide change? Will someone at least administer the Stone Cold Stunner on that Trump creep so he can shut the F up? And most importantly of all, how did we get into this situation where horror, satire, and fantasy has encroached on our shared reality? Personally, I can't stand reality TV. Now we are living it 24 hours a day, and we are living this son of a bitch and reality crap in the real reality of our lives and possible nuclear death. How crazy is that? Once again, I ask, how the son of a bitchin' shit F did we stupidly get into this situation? Yes, we've become complacent. Yes, we have become invasion of the body snatchers apathetic. Yes, we have become brainwashed and brain dead by our constantly being exposed to the stupidity of reality TV programming. But that can't be the answer alone, and I would never ever try to censor anybody's right to watch that crap. Wait a minute, I know whose fault it is. I know why we're in this situation. It's James Comey. It's all his freaking fault. He's the one that did this to us. No. Wait a minute. James Clapper just came out with this book that finally nails the answer to our problems. We know who to blame. It was the goddess damn Russians that placed Trump into power. He has the facts, and I'm sure he is right. Man, those Russians, how dare they? Wait a minute. I would never discount the James Comey's mistake. which he sincerely regrets. Read the book. He came out with a book. He sincerely regrets that he helped Trump. I would never deny that the Putinist creeps invaded our cyberspace and influenced our election. But I am actually willing to bet $100 that had the other 50% of us who didn't vote last Y2K16, and all these people didn't vote, voted all for Hillary Clinton, Trump would not have won. I know this for sure. And I am terrible with betting and with luck in that manner. But that I am sure of. The situation we're in, the fault, dear Brutus, is in ourselves. Shakespeare. And folks, don't forget our veterans for the Memorial Day. I grew up with a father who suffered severe PTSD from World War II mortal combat. Thanks in part to him, I got a small morsel of war that totally effed up the rest of my life. I guess I'm suffering what's called secondary post-traumatic stress syndrome. My father died at the ripe old age of 46, and I despise him and what he did for me. In many ways, the guy had much potential, but he was ignorant as sin. But I do respect the fact that he went through experiences beyond hell during World War II. My little mind could never conceive of what my father went through. He was blown up in a transport boat and spent 3 days in the water surrounded by blasted remains of comrades. He went on to experience the wonders of hand-to-hand combat, night bombings by Nazis, and the great security of having infiltrators who come at night to cut your throat. He was in an army mental hospital at the end and spent years digging shrapnel out of his face. He never could digest food properly. I am glad he did not live to see the regime of this traitor, this Nazi creep Trump. Human beings are naked ape tribal savages. We hate one another and we wage war. 50% of us did not vote in 2016. And the result was that we have a traitor in our White House. Trump did not serve in wartime. He avoided service. I didn't serve in wartime either. But I went to the draft board. I went to the induction center, and I got out legally because I am legally blind in my left eye. Trump makes fun of John McCain, who was captured and tortured. Trump murdered soldiers in Yemen and in Chad. He continues to murder soldiers with impunity. Remember Jeremiah Johnson? He does not tell you that the millions he is trying to get for the military goes to defense contractors and not to soldiers on the front lines. That's never how it is, folks. When they say, well, we got to give money to the military. Money to the military. That goes to defense contractors, not to the soldiers in the field. And I repeat that, I'm sorry. And this Trump creep, he wants to get rid of the Veterans Administration. He wants to privatize wounded and disabled veterans care so that private companies can make a profit on their blood. We savages make war, and then we have the nerve to screw the returning soldiers every way that we can. Shame on this country for our negligence in not voting. Shame on us for putting a coward in charge of our damaged, returning, brave soldiers. Thank you, non-voting assholes, for allowing a creep, turd, a scumbag to make a mockery out of Memorial Day to defame the memories of those who died in battle. I, on the other hand, will always support our returning soldiers, without whom I would not be enjoying the freedom that traitor Trump wants to take away from us.